Good day, everyone. Welcome to the third episode of ServiceDesk Plus MSP Masterclass 2025. In today's session, we'll see how you can showcase and deliver effective IT services with ServiceDesk Plus MSP. In our previous episodes, we spoke about how you can get started with ServiceDesk Plus MSP, how you can configure basic settings in the first episode, and then in the second episode, we saw how you can utilize the MSP features such as timesheets, billing, resource management, and so on to effectively bill your clients, track time accurately, and manage your resources. Now, in today's episode, we'll see how you'll be able to deliver effective IT services with the help of Service Desk Plus MSP. I'm Aditya, a product expert with Service Desk Plus MSP, and I'll be your presenter for today's session. So, in today's episode, we will talk about customizing the self service portals for your end users. We'll talk about how you can design customer specific service catalog according to your requirements. Then, we'll see how you'll be able to personalize service request templates with the user friendly drag and drop interface and how you'll be able to make it dynamic using the additional fields and resource information. Then we'll finally also see how you can set up approvals, SLAs, tasks, and checklists with the help of within the service request templates itself, and how you can make it dynamic with the help of field informed rules. Right? And finally, we'll see how you'll be able to create a standard operating workflow to deliver consistent IT services. Now, let's dive into the today's case, right? So today we'll understand how Service Desk plus MSP help you deliver effective IT services with the help of a use case of a fictional organization called Zilker MSP. Right, so Zilker is an MSP, and it's a very fast-growing managed service provider who is dedicated to deliver efficient IT support across a diverse client base. Right, but they are facing certain issues. Their team is unable to keep up with the inflow of service requests. It's one of the major challenges that they're facing, and their existing processes are unable to meet their demands. Right, so here are the major challenges that Zilker is facing before they implemented Services plus MSP. Right, their IT team struggled to handle a high volume of tickets, resulting in long wait times for customers and users. Right, as in the end users of customers. Then information gathering, they relied on manual spreadsheets and verbal requests, which cause a lot of human errors, a lot of different types of errors and inefficiencies, which was a really a messy situation. And technicians had no standardized operating procedures, which led to a lot of inconsistencies during the request fulfillment process. Right, and overall the lack of automation and visibility contributed to the delays in the poor service experiences. Then how did Zilker overcome these challenges? Well, Zilker introduced Service Desk Plus MSP into their organization, right? And after implementing Service Desk Plus MSP, Zilker could now onboard employees seamlessly with a customized self-service portal that they enabled for their end users as well as for their technicians. They made it very easy for the new hires to get started by allowing the managers of different customer organization to create a service request for them, and by allowing all the different end users to raise IT requests with the help of these self-service portals, right? And how did they do that? Well, they utilized service catalog feature within Service Desk Plus MSP, within which they defined well defined they put up well defined service categories and service templates, with the help of which they were able to enable employees to raise requests and share necessary information up front. And finally, they automated the request lifecycle. They utilized automated request lifecycles and ensured that there is a standard operating procedure that the technicians are following, and all of their stakeholders are promptly informed about every updates to their tickets during the entire service request resolution process or service request fulfillment process, right? So let's see how did they do that with the help of Service Desk Plus MSP. So let's dive into the first feature that we're going to be discussing. Right, so we're going to talk about how Zilker enables self-service portal within their organization, how they set the self-service portal for their end users and their technicians. Right, so I'm going to quickly go into the admin portal, which is the portal where you, as an MSP IT admin, you'd be able to make all the customization. You'll be able to have an access across the different modules that are available within ServiceDesk Plus MSP in a single go, right? So you'll be able to check out the different modules that are available over here. You'll be able to see, you'll be able to access the different views, such as your ticket summary, your different tasks, your pending approvals, announcement, and so on, right? So within the admin portal, once you click on this gear icon, you'll be able to find out the templates and forms option, where there's an option called you'll be able to find out general settings, where advanced portal settings is available. Right under advanced portal settings, you'll be able to configure and customize the self-service portal for end users. Right, so under customization option, you'll be able to find the two options available, which are basic and advanced. Now, basic allows you to utilize a basic self-service portal, which is predefined and pre-designed. But if you want to customize it further based on your organization's need, you'll be able to utilize the advanced portal settings, and you'll be able to configure a more customized self-service portal for your end users. So as you can see, when I went into the these when I went to this customization page, I could see that there are multiple themes that have already been created over here. There are multiple design options that are already available here, which we created through the customizations. Now let's see how these customizations work. How you can create from the scratch, right? So you can click on create new, and you can utilize the different panels, buttons, snippets, and widgets to enable to, and you can simply drag and drop these options within this canvas, and you can design a completely fresh self-service portal for all your end users. And you have the option to provide different types of headings, titles, and different types of colors and other information. You have an option to upload images, provide buttons, provide search options in different types, and so on. Right. So with that, you can utilize all these options, and you'll be able to customize a very specific customer, self-service portal for each of your customers, and you'll be able to then save it. Once you save it, your self-service portal that you customize would appear over here, and you can simply select and enable it for your customers. Right. So that way, you'll be able to customize the self-service portal for your end users. Now, there are certain settings that are available that you can enable for requesters, right? So there are various fine-grained information, such as whether you want to allow requesters to open their own request, or whether requesters can close their resolved request, whether requesters can access their profile options, whether they can edit it or not, right? So all these options that are available here, you'll be able to customize specifically for your requesters when you enable this self-service portal for them based on your organization's requirement. And in the similar way, for technicians also, you can customize the product to a certain extent, right? So for technicians, what all options are available, you can check out in the UI customization. So for technician, how this portal is looking here right now, this is the admin login. However, even technicians who have access to multiple modules, the look and feel would be similar. So how can you customize that? Well, in the UI customization option, you'll be able to select, first of all, you'll be able to customize this top bar that you see. So you can also convert this top bar into a sidebar or a sidebar light. I'll quickly show you how these look, right? So when you click on sidebar, you can find the different modules on the left-hand side instead of on the top, right? And the name of each modules would be written below it. But let's say you want to use smaller version of it, the sidebar light, which only displays the different icons, and you can find the name of the module by hovering over the icon. right? So that way your technicians would be able to customize their views with the help of navigation, with the help of these options. Then further, you can customize a theme for your technicians, color theme for your based on your organization's requirements. You may have a certain theme that you would like to follow. You can choose and pick, and you can pick and choose the color theme over here. You can even choose from custom colors, right? So for body, header, and all the other for all aspects of this, you'll be able to customize the different types of the fonts and all the other options, right? So any different type of font that goes with your organization's structure, you can utilize that. And further, what else you can customize is you can organize these tabs that you see on top, right? You have an option to organize these tabs. Let's say you frequently utilize the dashboards and projects module a lot, and then followed by requests and other modules. So what you can do is you can simply drag and drop projects up here, and you'll be able to access the projects module right over here, right? So that's how it's easy it is to customize these and organize these tabs based on your requirements. And further, we also have an option to change the browser title, right? So when you're generally using a ServiceDesk Plus MSP application, as you can see on top, Manage Engine ServiceDesk Plus, it appears over here in the browser tab. But if you select this option, that is selected module name, what this will do is it will convert the title into the module that you're into at that particular moment, right? For instance, if you're into a problem module at that time, you're working on problem tickets. So on top, it will showcase problems, right? So as an MSP, you work on so many things, right? You work on so many tickets. So it gets difficult when there are so many tabs open, and then to find out what's happening in each of these tabs, it's a very complicated issue, right? So with the help of the module name, you'll be at least able to cut it short, and you'll be able to make it easier for technicians to find out what they're working on right now. And further, for further customization, you can also enable the ticket ID and subject that can be displayed over there, right? So if the technician is working on a particular ticket or on a particular request ticket or a problem ticket or a change ticket, you can simply enable these options. And what this will do is it will fetch the ticket ID that is open right now on that particular tab, along with the subject of the ticket. So it will be very easy for your technician to find out in which of the particular tab they're working on which ticket right away, instead of opening all the tabs one by one, right? So that's how easily you'll be able to customize your self-service portals and admin and technician portal for your end users and for your technicians, right? So with that, we come to the end of the uh, first segment, right? So now we're moving on to the service categories and templates part of it, right? So what are the different service categories? What are service catalogs, and how do they look? Let me quickly dive into the customer portal and show you how a self-service portal, a properly customized self-service portal, would look for an end user, right? So now this is what I've logged in as an end user of a particular customer's organization, right? So I'm an end user at a customer of Zilker organization. So as an end user, I have an option to report an issue, report any incident that I'm facing, or request for a particular for services. And then I can also check out the existing knowledge base, and find out if there's any solution available to any of the issue that I'm facing, right? Beyond that, I also have access to the popular solution, the announcements that have been made for within my organization, and I can also check out the ticket summary right over here. Whatever pending requests I have on hold or closed requests are there, right? And further, I can also dive into the requests module, and I can check out the different requests that I've created, or into the solutions module to check out the complete solution knowledge base that's available to me, right? So then let's say I want to create a service request. So I click on a service request service. The moment I do that, I have been provided a neat and clean service catalog on the left side, where you can see the different service categories are available, and under each service categories we have certain templates available, right? So all these all these service templates are neat and clean, organized, and as a so it gets very easy for me as an end user to find out the exact issue that I'm facing under the different categories, and quickly choose the right option for me and create a ticket from that, right? So let's see how you can customize and create this service catalog for your end users. So under the admin tab itself, we have something called templates and forms, and under templates and form, we have service catalog. So in the service catalog, first we'll customize the service categories, because if you remember, we saw how service categories are available on the first look when we open the service catalog, right? So let's see how you can create these service categories and provide these details over here. So in order to create a service category, you simply have to create on this option, whether it's an IT service category or a business service category. You can choose from the options, and you can select, and you can provide the details such as name, availability target, service support hours, for how long you provide support for this particular type of service, the cost associated with this service. You can also choose to assign the business impact if it has any, and you can also choose to assign a particular person, a particular technician to this service category as well, so that you can ensure that only a certain technician deals with this particular type of service categories, tickets coming in for this service category. And then you can also set restoration targets and provide an icon for this service category, so that you can quickly recognize it and utilize it, right? So once you've created the business service category or an IT service category, it will be listed over here as a service category. Once it's done, we can move on to the service catalog customization, right? So under service catalog, as we saw, under each of these service categories, we could see certain templates that were available, right? So how do you create these templates and what these templates are, right? So templates are essentially, the way the request forms through which you can allow your end users to gather relevant details through a structured in a structured format, right? And to ensure that you are collecting all the necessary information, right? For example, I'll quickly show you how you can add a particular service catalog, add a particular service template, right? So for instance, I want to create a service template within employee administration. So I click on add service, and under this, I'll be able to create a template where I can add the name details, and I can provide an icon for this service category, for this service template. I can choose which customer accounts can see this particular template, right? So I can make it, I can show it to only specific accounts if I want to. And then we come to this canvas, right? So in this canvas, this is a very simple drag and drop canvas which helps us design service request forms. So this canvas consists of basically two items, which are sections and fields. So you can drag and drop, you can utilize and drag and drop these sections and and custom fields and fields through from the left hand side. So in the left hand side, you can see that we already have some certain predefined default fields, such as category, subcategory, urgency, mode, which are the general request fields that are there. And beyond that, you also have an option to create custom fields so that it can to suit your organization's need. And further, beyond that, we also have something called resource sections. So with these resource sections, what you can do is you can capture dynamic context sensitive information within the custom fields, right? So you can utilize the resource sections to provide your end users an option, a shopping cart like experience where they can see the different items. For instance, they want to avail an IT asset. So you can list all these different IT assets that are available, and they'll be able to look at the pictures, they'll be able to look at the values of these IT assets, and they'll be able to select the right one after comparing or after consideration. right? So all these can be customized right within the service request template. And further, when we go below that, we can also see that beyond resource info, and you can also choose to show the cost details to your end users if it's a requirement. And further, you can ensure that you restrict this particular template only to a specific support group, so that the right support group can effectively and immediately get started on this particular request. And further, you can also choose to show it to the requester, so that end users and basically the end users can create a request utilizing this template. And once you do that, you further have an option to only restrict to specific users, right? So the specific user groups, we saw how in the first episode how you can create user groups within ServiceDesk Plus MSP application, right? With that, you can ensure only the desired audience can see this service template and utilize it. So once you've customized all these options, you can click on save and configure workflow, post which what will happen is your technician option would be completed. So this is how once finally customized view would be available to a technician with all the fields that are available in the form. And then you can customize this same request form, but how only with only the details that you want to show to the requester, right? So because as you know, or not all of these fields are relevant for a requester. So this you can assign, this you can design what specific fields are necessary for requester, and you can configure that as well. And the process of configuration is very similar. You can add different sections and you can add different fields. What more you have in both technician and requester form customization is under sections, you can click on edit and you can provide the section name, and you can even provide a help desk text, or you can further customize it, at each and every section by providing a different font, different size of the font, the different color of the font, the background color. You can even choose the different placement of the labels, and you can customize the font and background of the entire section, right? And once you do that, once you've customized it, you'll be able to see the changes over here. And similarly, you also have an option to provide these settings for each and every field available as well, right? So when you click on the settings option over here, you'll be able to provide the different properties that are available, such as a help desk for this particular field. You can even choose to mark any field as mandatory over here, and you can also choose whether a requester can make edit on that particular field or not, or even to the level where requester can even view a field or not, right? So all these information, when you've configured, you also have an option to select a default value, such as uh, the different statuses of the ticket. And further, in the customization, you can customize the font and background color for this field. And once you save, these settings would be applicable in the service template. Now let me quickly show you an existing template to give you an example on how it would look when it's completely customized, right? So this is how it would look. So a logo would I've already added a logo over here. I've filled in all the necessary details. I've selected the accounts that needs to see this template, and then I've customized specific sections to gather all the necessary details when an employee is being onboarded, and this request is created by a manager of that employee, right? So I'll be able to gather the employee's details. I'll be able to check out the different ticket details. I'll be able to see the request details that was provided by the technician, provided by the manager. And further, this was the resource section that I was talking about, right? So this is how customizable this resource section is. Now let me quickly show you how you can create this customizable resource section with the different questions, different types of questions, such as a drop down menu, or select options, and you'll be able to add them in this service template, right? So for that, we need to quickly hop into the admin, and under service catalog, we can see we have something called resource questions and resource sections. right? So let's see how you create the resource question first, and then we'll see how you can utilize these questions and add them into different types of resource sections. Right. So in order to create a new resource question, you simply create a new section so that you'll see four options such as a plain text question, a checkbox related question, a radio button related question, or a drop down menu type of question. Once you select, for instance, you want a drop down menu type of question, so you'll be able to provide the question. For instance, choose a device required, and since you've selected drop down over here, you can provide an option to for end users to manually provide it, or you can select the product or a software, and the software list would be showcased over here, right? For example, if you want to add manually, you can save and add the options over here. And if it's going to be a personally identifiable information, which you need to ensure that it is removed upon to follow the GDPR guidelines, you can also choose to uh, select this PII, so that when a user which is associated with this particular information, when that user is removed from ServiceDesk Plus MSP, this information is also anonymized, right? And after that, you can save and add. So the question would appear over here, and it would look something like this, right? So you can choose, for example, I've created this question checkbox type question where I've provided the different account types that are required, or you can check out the different additional hardware type of question. And further, so we go to the resource section. Now in the resource section, we'll be able to utilize these different types of questions that we created, and we can group them to form a specific question, right? So you would have multiple service catalogs which may contain a combination of these similar questions. So that way it becomes very easy for you to just customize the resource section and directly use in a service catalog, right? So that's precisely what we did here. We utilized those resource sections, and we basically chose one of the resource section, such as select the resource question over. We chose to select. We can also further create questions over here as well, but we chose to utilize the resource section from over here, and we added over here, right? So that way we were able to customize this particular resource section with different types of questions that are required for this service template. And once that was done, we can also choose, as I said, we can restrict it for support groups, and we can enable it for requesters and enable it for specific user groups. Once that was done, we could click and save and configure workflow, and then we saw how it would be customized for the requesters, right? So once you've customized for requesters and technicians, now you jump into the option called workflow, right? So this is where it gets interesting. Now you can customize a complete workflow for a particular type of request template and ensure that ticket follows a particular life cycle. And I'll show you how you can associate a life cycle to a template in a few minutes. But let's move on. Let's see. So next, you can customize different levels of approval over here. You can further customize and add or associate different SLAs. For example, if you've already created an SLA in your app in the ServiceDesk Plus MSP application, you can choose to click on this option and select the SLA that further you want to associate to this particular ticket. And once you have associated that SLA, you can also associate a checklist to ensure that you can associate a checklist to ensure that consistent request handling takes place, and with the help of these predefined checklists. And further, you can also associate tasks directly within the service request template, right? So that saves so much time for you. So if you have already pre-created tasks, you can choose to associate them over here, or you can even create a new task and add it within the service template, right? So the moment a ticket is created using this service template, all these tasks would automatically get created, and the different technicians who work on these specific items can quickly get started on these tasks, right? So how to do that? You can simply click on associate, and you can pick from one of these task templates and assign in within the service request template. And once you do that, you can also further customize the different dependencies on the tasks, right? So you can ensure that tasks are executed only after a precursor, a task that was supposed to be done before a process is done, right? So for example, if you want to provide a hardware, you would want certain software to be installed within that, and only after that you would want to provide it to the end user, right? So that way you can ensure that different types of steps can be followed, right? So first you would check the inventory first, then you'll be able to provide the software, then you'll be able to install the software and items like that. So that's how you can just simply drag and drop this, and the different tasks can be made dependent on the previous on the other tasks, right? So that way you can customize the task dependency and ensure the tasks are executed in a particular flow, right? So that's how you can define the complete workflow for your tickets execution. And further, what you can do is you can make your form dynamic using the field and form rules, right? What are field and form rules? Let's talk about it. Now, field and form rules are essentially utilized to ensure that your end users or or even technicians are not overloaded with the amount of fields that appear on a request form, right? Let's say if I open a request form and it has like 50 fields for me to fill, it kind of gets very difficult for me to pick and choose what information is required, what's not. Sometimes I may end up missing on providing certain important information. So how do I ensure that there's a sequence and a flow that happens based on which the different fields appear or disappear within the form, so that I can fill in required information dynamically within the form, right? So that can be done with the help of field and form rules. So what can you do with the field and form rules? Let me quickly show you. So I'll create a new rule, and with the field and form rules, what I can do is I can perform a lot of actions based on certain conditions, based on the, and these conditions would be dependent on the different fields that are available within the request, right? So I can provide the name of the rule. I can select what users it applies to, like whether it's applicable for technicians or requesters, and I can select when it has to be executed, right? Also, should it be executed on creation or on editing of the template, or only on creation of the template or on edit of the template, right? And the event has already been selected as form load, right? So when the form would be loaded on its creation, I'll be able to satisfy certain conditions and perform certain actions. So these conditions can be chosen within the different types of request fields that are available, right? For instance, let's say once the employment type is filled, right? So let's say once the employment type is selected as permanent, I want a certain action to be performed over here, such as I want to enable certain fields, I want to disable certain fields, I want to show or hide certain fields. I can do everything. I can even mandate certain fields, add or remove certain options. Let's say if I provide certain mobile phone options for choosing it for the new onboarding employee, and based on the level of employee, the mobile models change. So I can choose to do those types of customization as well with the add and remove. I can set certain fields and clear certain fields based on the user input, so that users don't have to literally fill each and every field, right? Based on the logic, you can utilize the set and clear field options. You can show and hide certain resources. You can even set tasks or show tasks, and you can even execute a custom script, right? So the customizations to make these templates dynamic is available to that extent. Now, how do these look in a practice, right? In theory, it sounds well and fine, but how do these actually look, right? So let me quickly show you. Let me quickly create a ticket from an end user's end and show you how this would appear, right? So I'm in the end user portal, right? And I as a employee in one of the Zilker MSP's customer, I want to create a service request for onboarding a new new employee in my team. So as a manager, I selected the manager initiated employee onboarding form, and in this form, I can see these limited number of fields are available to me, right? So I select, and on the top left corner, I can select the SLA based on which I'll be able to get the different laptops or different types of IT assets for my new employee. Now, let's say the employee is joining today. It's 8 a.m. and employees will be joining by 10 a.m. So I want to give it a high SLA, which should be fulfilled within 2 hours, right? So I can choose that SLA over here. Then I can further provide the subject where I can provide the name of the employee. For instance, the employee's name is Zach, and further I can provide the employee details such as uh, Zach John, and the date of joining for this person is today itself, right? So today the person is joining. I can add the time over here. That person is joining at 10 a.m. And once I've selected all that option, I'll be able to provide the employment type. Just for showcase purpose, I'll change the date here. And let's say I change the employment type and I change it to, but before I do that, let me quickly just add other details like contact number and department. Say it's an engineering department. So once I select the employment type, for instance, I select permanent. Right. The moment I selected permanent, I could see certain fields have popped up which are required for me to fill in. Right. So I have to provide the laptop model that I want to provide to this person. Now keep a check on this field, which is choosing the operating system. So as a manager, I want to provide the person a MacBook Pro. And the moment I select that, automatically this field is pre-filled, right? So this is what I was talking about. You can pre-fill certain values within the form based on the user's input. So that can be done, and that way this form becomes very dynamic, right? The fields are appearing and disappearing when required. The fields and the necessary information are collected in a sequential manner, right? So let's say I selected a wireless mouse and keyboard as well, and finally I want the person to have an access of MDM application and MS Office. And the moment I provided these details, sequentially the next option came, and which is asking for a communication device that has to be provided to this new employee, right? So I could choose from the different options, and here you can see I have an option to provide an image over here. I have an option to provide the details about it. I can click on view details and see more details about each of these items. So all that can be customized within the resource questions, right? And the moment I've made my decision, let's say I want to provide a Google Pixel 8 Pro, or let's say I want to provide an iPhone 15 Pro Max, I can select that and submit the request. The moment I submit the request, I'll be able to check out the request details that I've just created. And similarly, the request would have appeared on the technician's end, right? So on the technician's end, in the request module, I'll be able to check the new request that just came in from a manager of a particular customer organization. So here I see that as a technician, now I'm in the admin login and I'm in the technician login, and I can see as a technician, I'll be able to find out the ticket. I'll be able to check out the different ticket details and what are the requirements. And once I've checked all those details, I'll be able to check out all the statuses, the different priorities that's assigned, the different employee details who created this ticket, as well as the account details that are related to this particular employee, right? So that way you'll be able to dynamically customize the different forms for your different service request forms for your end users, right? So we saw how you could create different service categories and customize your service catalog. Then we saw how you could create the request templates. Now the final part of this today's presentation is the request lifecycle. How, utilizing the request lifecycles, Zilker standardized their request fulfillment process and provided them a sequential format to deliver IT services to Zilker MSP, right? So let's check out how this particular feature works. Now, on the right side, if you would have noticed that when we open this ticket, there's an option called next transition available with a button over here, right? It says assign technician. Now, what is this? Let me click on this and see what happens, right? The moment I clicked on assign technician, it opened a window and it asked me to fill in employee details, ticket details, and main thing is the technician, right? So since the technician is already selected here, I can also choose to select a different technician which would be more suitable for this ticket, and I'll be able to update that. Once I update this, you can see that there's a next transition that appeared over here that we can start work. The moment I click on start work, now I'll be able to start working on this ticket. I'll be able to check out the different, since the new technician is assigned. Now imagine I am that technician and I'll be able to check out the different details of this ticket, what all resources are required. Then further, I'll be able to check out the different tasks that are associated within the ticket, and I'll be able to select and execute these tasks. I'll be able to select and trigger these tasks based on the requirement and based on the dependencies, right? And further, I have an option to check out a checklist that is associated with this ticket, and I'll be able to ensure that all these information, all these items are checked in the during the service delivery process, and you've ensured an effective service delivery throughout the process, throughout the resolution process. And finally, I'll be, let's say I provide all the services, I gather all the ITSs that are required. I And so once I gather all the ITS assets that are required, I'll be able to click on actions button and even associate a purchase order to ensure that all the associated costs are tagged as well, and I can ensure that all the information related to this ticket are captured over here. Now, once all the IT assets are available with me, I'll be able to click on software installation and hardware option, and I'll be able to install the software in the IT assets that I've received. Based on how the tasks are executing, the ticket would move from one process to another process, right? And once I've provided the assets to the end user or to the manager, I'll be able to click on assets provision. And once the assets are provisioned, I'll be able to close this ticket, right? I'll be able to provide a closure code, such as if it was a success, I'll be able to update it accordingly, and the ticket can then be can move to a next status, which is resolved. Now the ticket is resolved, but let's say the employee has had certain further requirements, or they wanted certain configurations to be done. So you can also choose to resume work, which will take you to the in progress state again. And once the all the necessary configurations are done, you can choose to close the ticket, right? The moment you close the ticket, you'll be able to provide a closure code again, and you can select if it's success or not. You'll be able to mark that option, and you can finally close the request, right? So that's how you saw sequentially we took the technician through the request resolution process without having technician to fill too many details change too many details within the ticket, and without having to think on what to do next in every stage of the process, right? So that's how this request lifecycle works. But how is it configured, right? So let me quickly show you in the admin panel. So under admin panel, under automation, we have something called request lifecycle. So these request lifecycles are already the ones that are previously created. But in order to create a new lifecycle, you can simply click on new. You can select you can create a particular lifecycle name. For instance, you want to create a lifecycle for HR related service requests. So you can provide the name, descriptions, and you can select from the different service or incident templates that are relevant for this new lifecycle, and you can click on save. The moment you click on save, you'll be greeted with a drag and drop canvas where you'll be able to customize a request lifecycle like this, right? So on the left side, you have this neat and clean canvas where you see these white and green blocks, which are statuses and transitions, right? So the green boxes are transitions and white ones are statuses. So what are these statuses? Statuses are the stage at which a ticket is at a particular point of request resolution, right? So for instance, I can also see there are available statuses over here on the right side, right? So I can choose to drag and drop any of these statuses if they are contextually required. For example, I want to get certain information from customer before I assign this to another technician. So I can directly take the ticket from open status to awaiting customer, and then I can further connect it to the then I can further assign the technician if I choose to, right? And then further I can also edit the workflow name if I want to, and I can associate different templates over here, right? Again, so if I have missed any template in the creation stage itself, I can further associate them over here. Now what else can be customized? So under the transitions, you can customize the during, after, and before stages of a ticket movement from one status to another status, right? Let me quickly break down this statement. So for example, when the ticket was being created, we had mandated certain options, if you would have noticed, in the request form. Let me quickly show you so that you can see it directly happening. So when we were creating a ticket with the help of this template, you can see there are certain items which were mandated, such as full name, employee name, and other things. So full name, department name, and employment type. So if you would not have filled any of these options, we would have been thrown an error. So for example, ABC, and the date of joining, let's say we select something, and we select as 30, and we provide a contact number. But when we go and try and submit this request, let's say we have selected the other options as well, and let's say when we go and try to submit this request, it will throw an error during the stage of ticket creation itself, right? So that's why this particular state was called transition was called during, right? So during the ticket creation process, I restricted the end user so that I could gather the necessary details, right? So similar actions can be configured during, before, and after creation of the after a ticket's movement, right? So for example, I can also choose to execute a rule here during the ticket creation or even after the ticket creation. So for example, in after, I choose to notify the requester that your request has been created or registered, right? So how did I do that? Well, I simply clicked on new rule option. I could provide the rule name and provide description. I could choose to, let's say if I create multiple rules here, I can even choose to execute a next rule once this rule is created. This rule is executed, then I can provide a condition based on which I want this rule to be executed. But if there is no condition to be applied, for example, in this case where we only need to execute, notification, we can choose to apply no condition as well. And conditions would again be similar. It will be based on the different ticket field parameters, right? Once you've selected the right condition, you can choose to perform certain actions, such as a notification can be sent out, custom function can be executed, a webhook can be created, or even execute. You can even execute a script, right? So all that can be customized right in the request lifecycle under new rule, right? So here I sent in a notification to the requester saying that your ticket has been assigned. Now we move. Let me quickly show you what happens in the before part of it. Now let's say ticket is in the open state and you're about to assign a ticket to a technician. So how can you ensure that these the different transitions buttons that we saw appear to the right people, right? So that can be that you can ensure with the help of this role option, right? So if you choose to provide a group members option over here as well, so all the different group members of this technicians group, they will also be able to see these transitions. But let's say you want to restrict it specifically only to the ticket owner, you can also choose to restrict the ticket movement, the status movement, to a ticket owner as well. Then further, in the similar fashion, you can create a rule and execute it over here. And similarly, in the during stage, you can mandate certain fields. You can even add certain optional fields that you would want information for, and then you can choose to execute a new rule. Right? So that way, you'll be able to customize a complete flow of your request resolution process, and you can ensure that there's a set operating procedure for different types of requests that come into your organization. Right? And with that, we come to the end of today's session, which was and the final section was the request lifecycle. And let's do a quick recap on what we learned today. So we saw how you could build a self-service portal that includes a comprehensive service catalog. We saw how you could enable, how you could collect all the necessary information with the help of service requests, utilizing the simple drag and drop canvas and the field and form rules that made the ticket forms very dynamic. And finally, we saw how you could automate certain processes and standardize the request fulfillment process using the request lifecycle. So if you wanted to learn more about ServiceDesk Plus MSP, you can check out our support portal at manageengine.com/product/ServiceDesk MSP/support. Here, you'll be able to find out different information such as our contact details, such as different guides that are available, such as user guide, admin guides, and all. And you'll also be able to find out the links to release notes, product videos, and community, where in the release notes, we add the latest information, the latest features and enhancements that are available within the product. All this information are available within the release notes. You'll be able to find out the admin guide in the resources section, where you can check out the fine-grained details about each and every feature and learn how to use every feature and different modules within ServiceDesk Plus MSP. Further, you'll be able to check out different product videos where we talk about the different modules and how to utilize them in the best way possible. And finally, you'll be able to check out our community section where we talk about which is a pit stop forum where all the customers and users such as you join and engage in different meaningful conversations regarding Service Desk Plus MSP product and help us improve the product further, right? And with that, I'd like to close the session. I thank you all for joining today's session. Have a very good day. Thank you. This is Aditya signing off.